Call to order this City of Gerald Special Call City Council meeting, Tuesday, October 8th, 2024 at 7 p.m. First item on the agenda is a roll call. We have all members present. We will have an invocation and pledge of allegiance led by Councilwoman Boston.
Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening giving you thanks for the opportunity to serve the citizens of Gerald. Lord, give us grace to bring truth, justice, and stability to the city we all love and call our home. May we prosper under the wisdom that you grant us. Lord, help us to engage in meaningful discussion that your will for our city shall prevail. We ask these things in your precious name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, agenda item number 2 is public comments. We have 2. Let's go with orange cards. Rusty Bryson.
Good evening, Mayor
Good evening.
and Council. I want to express sincere appreciation for the Gerald PD, ESD 5, and everyone who participated in National Night Out. What a wonderful evening we had. National Night Out is all about strengthening community bonds. It was a chance for neighbors to come together, foster relationships, and increase awareness about crime prevention. Our National Night Out was an evening that built trust, created a sense of belonging. Our neighborhood had almost perfect attendance. We had a couple abstaining. National Night Out is a very special time. We met our neighbors, we shared stories, and we enjoyed each other's company. We had fun activities and we had awesome food. It's these moments that turn a neighborhood into a true community. Again, thank you, Chief, Gerald PD, ESD 5, Mayor Patrick Sherrick, Mayor Pro Tem Tanya, Alderman Place 1 Daniel and his lovely wife Lori Allen, a candidate for Place 2. We appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to visit with our neighborhood. It built relationships and we just had fun fellowshipping with you. Your presence was appreciated. We're already planning next year. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next, we have Elizabeth Exley. Would you like to speak now or when the agenda item is called?
I'm okay either way.
It's up to you.
Okay. So I realize I'm working with limited information on the city council's development, because I haven't heard back from whoever the development council people are, running that. But I have a little bit of an update. As y'all know, Gerald's one of the top 3 cities in Texas that most people are moving to, and it's growing faster than y'all can keep up with. And I know it has to be handled with conscious, undistracted planning to make it a safe place for families and attractive for businesses. But it's also about future generations and what we're leaving for them to kind of mess with. So currently, y'all have a wastewater plant called Donahue Creek over here on the east side of 35. It's rural, very rural. There's no smells there, there's no bother for anyone. My bees don't even know it's there. TCQ's desires to keep those things regional, so they've asked them, please do that. And so I guess they communicated with y'all a couple years ago. I don't know why, it kind of fell off the radar. But the builder supposedly said it costs too much to pipe it to the regional plant down there. But I talked to the developer, the engineer who designed the wastewater plant design, and she said no. If they decided to build a lift plant on the property next to us, which is totally enclosed, which will be an eyesore, but who cares? My bees cannot get into it because there's no contaminated water. my business would stay alive. If they decided to build a lift plant there instead of the full wastewater treatment plant, it would cost them a lot less. So their current estimate is 8 million to build a wastewater treatment plant. The additional piping to the existing plant is 6 million. Well, they're not having to build a full one now. They're probably maybe gonna cost between 4 and 6 million to build a lift station. Therefore, the cost is greatly decreased. So I want to leave no room for them to say, no, we can't do that anymore. It's not economically feasible because it costs too much, which is a joke anyway, because they're gonna be making billions of dollars on loans. But besides that, we can't know that. I'm just working with what they told me. With what I have from the city, from the wastewater engineer. So pretty much I'm asking the city to, I don't know what's holding y'all up, except that I know that their wastewater treatment plant is planning on doing like 150,000 gallons per day in 2026-ish, maybe 27. They're adding 150,000 gallons per day every 2 years to reach the max of 450,000 gallons per day for 2,500 homes. So this is over the course from here to 2029. During that time, I'm pretty sure the city could work something out with the mud, and the mud has to pay for it according to TCEQ. It wouldn't cost y'all a dime, and you can charge a maintenance fee. Now again, I'm not sure if I'm working with all the information on y'all's side, but that's what I would ask, so that you give the mud developer no room to wiggle out of that and keep it regionalized. If y'all would contact them, connect back up with them, and consider that option, that would save my business, obviously the property value too, like the corn orchard, and our health too, because of the possible odors and other problems that come along with wastewater treatment plants. And so I ask that y'all discuss that and consider, even though they've de-annexed themselves from the ETJ, consider letting them connect up to the existing one, have them help pay for the cost of upsizing. Thank you for letting me talk. Consider this.
The next item on the agenda is the proclamation. Agenda item 3.1, proclamation declaring November 4th through November 8th, 2024 as Municipal Court Week. The proclamation recognizing the importance of municipal courts, the rule of law, and the fair and impartial administration of justice in recognition of Municipal Court Week as of November 4th to 8th, 2024. We don't have anybody here to accept it, so I'll deliver it to them. Next item on the agenda is consent agenda items. Do we have any questions about these items? I will accept a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve. Second.
All right, we have a motion to approve and a second. No further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Unanimous. All right, agenda item number 5, regular agenda items. 5.1, consideration, possible action regarding a master service agreement for a water and wastewater master plan with KPA engineers. Go ahead.
Good evening, Council. Good evening, Mayor. As you all know, the city has experienced a rapid growth, and that has increased the demand on our water and wastewater system. Having an up-to-date wastewater and water master plan will give us knowledge of where we need to improve, where we are, and give better direction to the future developments, as residential as well as commercial.
Do you know what the cost would be?
The estimated cost is $212,000.
Now, that's just for them to create a plan, is that correct?
Excuse me?
That's for them to create a plan.
A master plan, yes.
So would we get our new water folks involved in that? I always mess up the name south, whatever it is, Point South. We've changed
No,
water companies
The
3
master,
times.
the master plan will give us the status of our infrastructure and where we need to improve.
Okay.
It
In
will also give us-
consultation with the water corp, I would hope, because plenty of people who know about what it is. So it's not like KPA is gonna come in here and just create a master plan without consulting with our other entities.
Well, they have to work with other entities to find out where they at.
And so we want to spend 212,000 for them to produce that.
No, it's gonna be just for us. The master plan is gonna be just for the city.
Okay, all right.
It's my understanding that KPA engineers was highly recommended, from what I've heard. Can you tell us when was the last study done, if there was a last study?
I think the last study was completed in 2021. That's my note, that's what I've been able to find. And since then, the city has experienced, I think, a 12% growth rate, and we expect to grow at that rate for the next 10 years. So it's imperative that we update our master plan and be aware of where we need to improve and where we are.
And so is MRB, were they involved in early 2012 or whenever?
I believe they were involved in the earliest one, 2020, 2021. But that's as far as that involvement that I'm aware of.
Well, okay, do you have documentation on there?
I have a layout presented by them in 2021, and
Okay, that's, yeah, okay. Before then.
How often should we be doing this?
uh,
With this 12% growth per year? I mean, realistically, what?
I will say, and I don't want to speak, I'm going to have the two members from the KPA, they can probably correct me if I'm wrong, but I will say that every 3 to 5 years, we should keep that up to date.
That's a general time frame it's usually done.
Are there members from KPA here? Would y'all like to speak at all about Gerald and the issues that we face?
So the idea behind these plans, it's going to create a framework for y'all moving forward. It's going to assess where y'all stand today. I know water is a concern, but that's going to take an evaluation of what resources you have available to you now and how we're going to best use those resources going forward. And then as development comes into town, there'll be a framework to build off of to have a long-term plan, not appeasing each development that comes in, but something that will be, when we make an improvement, that improvement's gonna provide something for this development, but it's also gonna serve benefits beyond that.
Who was it from the city that initiated this contract? Discussed it.
We've been speaking with 4K.
Okay. And the other question I'll have is on that kind of an expenditure, do we put that out to bid or do we just decide on picking an engineer?
When we contacted an MSA, we did an RFQ and we selected the best companies.
Did it go out for bid?
Hmm?
Did it go out for bid?
No, with RFQs, we don't go to bid.
I might like to have it go out for bid and see what other answers we get as to the email. Yeah, it's good to see you again.
It's been a long time, Jeff, not seeing you.
Yeah, it's good.
Trace said in KPA, professional services, you're not allowed to go out for bidding.
Is that right?
It's qualification based only. So you basically have to go through the RFP process. You select the most qualified. From that point, you can go to negotiations for.
And if I may add, the amount, it was already approved in the budget.
Yeah, you go out for negotiation. If for some reason you don't ever come to an agreement,
Right.
then you have the option to go to the next person.
And so who would be our next person? I don't have any idea. Do you?
Well, as far as I know, the KPA would be the best choice for us.
Well, as the gentleman just said, it's, normally you go with a couple of people, you don't just.
Well, I received 12 MSAs and I reviewed them all. And the best qualified, not just because it's KPA, it's because they had knowledge of what's going on in the area, is KPA.
Right.
Other firms are out of the area, and I'm sorry for other companies were outside the area, Williamson County, so I don't feel they have the.
They're outside Williamson County?
Yes, they were
So not
outside
in our
Williamson
county.
County. Like, one of them was in Dallas, and I don't feel they would represent our needs, not knowing what's going on around there. KPA has well knowledge of everything around the city.
Well, I think before I would make a motion for that, I would like to see the other folks. I mean, there's a lot of people that take care of that. I don't think we're in a super rush right now to get that.
He's the expert.
And I agree. we're gonna review everything that city staff has to do, and every decision that they make and analyze it, it's gonna slow city business down to a grinding halt.
I think we're pretty much ground to the wall.
No, thanks to you.
But Jorge,
This is part of the reason.
just asking whether or not we can get a copy of that.
Do we need a budget workshop to go over?
I keep ordering there.
I'm asking some questions.
You're not interrupting. I have to interrupt. Do we have that information can be given to us before we go ahead and do this?
The 12,
I have one question for you. We're kind of in a unique area because we've got our muds, we have Gerald Swiffer that supplies water to part of Gerald. How does this master plan take into account all these other entities that all have to, we all have to work together, but how's a master plan like that take that into account?
we would have to reach out to them and find out how they work with the city. And again, on the review, the only firm that I found that had that qualification, that knowledge, that connection, know the players in the area was KPA.
Well, I'm not questioning your truth.
No, no, no,
How does it work?
I'm just-
They work with these other muds and stuff?
Yes, they
That's
have.
correct.
Yeah.
That's all you do.
No, I'm sorry,
They reach out to them as well.
Okay, so we're working with a larger group to make this.
Correct.
Okay, that's all you know.
And by far, they have more qualifications than any other individual. There were a total of 12 we looked at. Is that
Yes,
correct?
we were at 12, and not all 12 apply for water reserve. I mean, within the water, with the water department, I think KPA and 2 more. But, I mean, not the scope, didn't even match what we need.
And we do this so we're not building like a 6-inch line, and then
Correct.
2 years later building a 12-inch line,
Correct.
and then
Replacing the
4 years later
Or
building an
commit, or
18-inch
make
line
a
over a
commit, or
line.
make a
over line,
commitment to
over
a
line.
development that we have in an area that we.
There's just wastewater treatment plants and wells in the correct areas for the cheapest amount of money.
That's
To
correct.
save us a lot of money
This
in the long.
Yeah, this is significantly
Yeah.
needed for the city and for city staff to be able to do our job properly and effectively for what we're being asked to do.
I have a question. So, how much was it for their services that were asked?
212.
212. So, how long are their services? Is it just until they're done, or is this like an ongoing, like how does it work?
The study could take 6 to 7 months, I believe. And, I mean, they have been more than helpful in every time, as far as reaching them and asking the question. So I don't doubt KPA is capable to give us, extend the courtesy to keep advising us on how to make decisions.
Okay, yeah, I was just wondering, like, so once they're complete, they're done, and that's the end of
Yes.
the.
Yeah, when the plan is turned on to us, yes, the job is complete.
Okay.
It doesn't end our relationship with them.
Doesn't get a
It's
relationship with
just-
them.
It's paid for that one aspect.
So do we get a discount, continue?
You'll also,
I like that.
so, it's for water and wastewater, so this is for both
Yeah.
things. And what you'll have at the end of this is also a model. So there's will be a model for your system, both water and wastewater. So when development comes in, if Jorge calls us up and say, hey, I've got this, 700 lot subdivision that wants to go plop right here. We can put that in the model and it will tell us what size lines you need, to verify what size lines you need, if they need, fire flow that you need, any other improvements that you would need, that then you could, have that cost shared or done by the development or whatever. It kind of gives you that plan, that forethought and information that Jorge can have and go negotiate any development agreements or anything else that you have.
And most of all the majors have that same kind of program
Correct.
where they
Yes.
do that. Now, I've worked with you before,
Yes, sir.
so I have no problem with your company.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so, I mean, it'll give you basically a tool at the end of the day. You'll have a master plan mapping, because we all understand, master plans are as good as what we have 5, 10, where you're looking out, but in 10 years, you never know what's gonna happen. So it can always change, so that model will help you shift gears, because we all think the growth is gonna go X, and all of a sudden it goes Y. And so you can go, oh, wait, here's the model, let's go put that in there and see what happens.
Which is why we want to update it every
Yes, sir.
5 years.
Yes,
so
sir.
that we
That's why you
understand
wanna
what's
keep-
going on.
Keep looking at it, keep updating it, keep tweaking.
That was my next question, so if we do go with you, and every 3 to 5 years, and stay with you, it's kind of like, if you're already established, would it be cost effective to continue going with y'all?
That is up to y'all. I mean, I would
Well, that's
say,
it.
we would already have the model, I would think you would be.
That's not, that's what I'm.
But I, you know,
But you do renew contract.
yeah, you never know, I might be fired in 5 years.
Yeah.
Like someone else, you know, but no, it should be, yeah.
Okay. And then, is it, digital, or are we gonna like?
Both.
Both, we're gonna.
We'll provide a PDF, so you can have that for anybody that can access. You can put that on your webpage, you can do whatever you want to. We'll also provide a hard copy, because a lot of people still like flipping through books, and so we have both options. Or we can provide both things.
That's it.
You good?
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor and a second. Is there any further discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
Nay. Oh, you said 100%.
Unanimous. Moving on to agenda item number 6, discussion items. Agenda item 6.1, discussion regarding the November city council meeting to canvass the election results from the November 5th, 2024 election. And I just put this on the agenda to see if y'all wanted to maybe reschedule that meeting since it's on election night. Not, we can keep it.
We'll have to have a special call meeting after November 14th to canvass the election results.
So if we reschedule, we do both at one time then?
Okay, so you're gonna say we're gonna have the council meeting on the 14th?
No,
We're gonna do it on.
after the 14th, so it'll be either the 18th or the 19th, Monday or Tuesday.
And so we don't have the November council meeting on the second Tuesday.
Well, it would be the first Tuesday, which falls on election day, so.
So I guess my question is, do we really need to wait that long to do that? And to have a regular council meeting?
If the election's included, you have to wait.
Well,
At least
we
until
can move it
the
from, what is it, the 5th, Diane? From the 5th to the 6th to the 7th, it's not a problem for us to do it a little bit earlier, do city business, and then do the installment.
Williamson County requires us to wait until after the 14th to canvass the election.
Well, but that's canvassing, it's not our city council meeting, correct? So we can move, it to the 6th, or the 7th, or the 8th, or whatever we can agree on. I think I would like to have that meeting, moved to one of those dates. That's convenient for everyone.
My thought was just combine both of them, so we can have one meeting in November instead of 2, but it's open for discussion, so it's up to council.
All right, either way.
We made a motion on that at all. Okay. I make a motion that we move it, to the next, couple days after the 5th. And it's something we'll agree on, we'll publish that out.
A couple days after the 5th.
Yep.
Just for clarity's sake, your motion is for November 7th.
Let's say November 7th.
Okay. That was a couple of days.
Yeah, okay. So November 7th.
What's the fall?
Thursday.
Thursday. Do we make a motion?
I did make the motion. Yeah, we need a second.
Second?
We have a motion on the floor and a second. Any further discussion?
Just, I guess, I can go either way, but why choose the one? Seems like we're meeting every week now, so, and just, this is not pointing or, just why, so I know which way to vote here.
Well, I think we have a lot of city business before us, and I think it would be wise to go ahead and get together and do some city business there. And then, of course, we don't interrupt the validation of the election. And that, so we can concentrate on that.
That's just for me personally, I respect it.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. That's 4-1. Moving into the 7th.
Thanks, Art.
That we just established. Now, all right, moving on to agenda item number 7, we're going to adjourn into closed session, executive session. Agenda item 7.1, closed executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.071 and 551.074. 2, number 1, conduct a private consultation with its attorney, and the government body seeks advice of its attorney about pending or contemplated litigation or a settlement offer on a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the governmental body under the Texas disciplinary rules of professional conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with this chapter, to wit, employment of city manager Danielle Singh. Number 2, deliberate the employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of a public officer or employee, to wit, and or hear a complaint or charge against an officer or employee, to wit, city manager Danielle Singh. General City Council is now adjourned. 7:27 p.m. He's on. The Gerald City Council is now back in session at 9:02 p.m. Agenda item 8.1, discussion and possible action regarding items discussed in executive session, including employment of Danielle Singh.
I, Jeff Seidel, make a resolution of the City Council of the City of Gerald of Texas denying a request for leave and a determination of unreasonable hardship and providing for the city manager's termination with cause and providing for an effective date immediately. Patrick Sal is also removed from the position of interim city manager to be replaced by Thomas Hertel.
Second?
Who seconded that?
There's a motion on the floor and a second. Is there further discussion?
Discussion. Mr. Herter, how do you feel about that?
Little shocked. It's a pretty daunting ask. There's a lot.
He doesn't have the experience.
Has there been a background check performed? Anything performed as it
Hey,
relates to?
you want to run a background check? Yeah, I'll tell you, it's squeaky clean. I got a license to
No,
carry.
just in general, before we extended the offer. I'm asking if we have conducted that. Have we conducted that?
You've got it, vote in a second.
Right.
Can we
No,
not have
they're, yes,
discussion?
they're entitled to discussion, sir.
Yeah,
Have we
no,
conducted a background check on the candidate that's being proposed as a question?
Not within the city, we have not.
What experience does the candidate have?
Dozen years as the general manager for Staples.
Can we ask your reasoning for nominating this?
I made the
Candidate.
nomination, you've got a first, you've got a second, let's move along.
What happens, is my understanding that this candidate is currently seeking election?
Yes, I am running for mayor.
Will there possess any conflict between the office of mayor and interim city manager?
Well, yes, you by law can't serve as both, but a candidate can serve. Because a candidate is not an elected official. It sounds like this would be pretty short term depending on how the election goes. I mean, if
So are we talking about any limitations on the interim city manager when it comes to city staff?
Then it's pretty much the same thing South is supposed to do, is just until we find a permanent city manager.
Well,
What
what
are
are
the
the
expectations that we heard?
Those are limitations that we need to be stated out loud in the public.
Pretty much needs to continue running city all as Southwood. Same restrictions.
But what are those restrictions? That is the thing. Things have to be clearly outlined
What were they
in a
for
motion.
South? Well, what were they for South?
We didn't put any on South.
Okay, well then, I guess I can put no restrictions on him then, right? Unless you have some, if you have some examples of some good restrictions, we can do that.
I would like this
But we've got a free reign, hire, fire, if it's supposed to be short term. Wouldn't it make sense to put some limitations on that position?
I'm on board, what are your recommendations?
That they cannot change or remove city staff positions.
And they're not acting as a city manager, why would we not keep the same structure that we have with Patrick? He's done a good job.
Because he's a current city employee,
Needs
has done
to-
a background check.
Needs to
Correct.
get back to the police.
Right, but all of the necessary steps for him to get his job as police chief were done. No steps have been followed to appoint this interim city manager.
Show me in code, show me in the code where that has to be done. And all of this.
I'm not saying it has to be done, but
Other than
it
that,
has to
we
be
got
a reasonable thing to do.
I would say he doesn't take until he goes through the process, and it should be expedited,
What process?
like the hiring process. Whatever makes you feel comfortable, if you want a background check, then he doesn't get to do it.
There's nothing that's been discussed here, wages, nothing has been discussed. This is a
I understand that.
very
You made-
rash
You made
decision.
a motion. That we talked about back there, you've made
I'm
it.
gonna tell you, I do not support anybody coming in, having the authority to hire and fire any of this city staff right now, not knowing the background, anything walking into this.
Can I make us?
No,
Can I-
we're talking about
Yeah,
you
before.
being at this position and what the steps that were not followed
I would
through
like
this
to
entire
offer,
process.
I would like to offer some restrictions is what I'm saying.
Mr. Herbal, recently, I know I shouldn't be talking across the audience, I apologize, I know I'm out of line, I do apologize, but recently, in discussion, it was brought to my attention that when your name was mentioned, you told me you had no interest in that. What changed your mind?
If I'm asked to serve, I've always said I'd serve at the pleasure of the council. I've made that offer before.
That was not the initial response you gave me, sir. You told me that you didn't know why your name was put out there, you didn't want that.
We can play
I
the court.
assume this has been pre-planned through this entire thing. This is the first time you've been to a council meeting in how long? 6 months?
Beginning of summer.
I don't think we're in the business of assumptions, I think we got a question on the floor. Go ahead.
Because I couldn't hear you, I apologize. Did you say you were okay with restrictions?
Yes.
Can we define them?
That would have to be part of the motion.
Does it have to be part of the motion part to define the restrictions?
You can, sorry, I'm trying to mute my computer here. Yes, so you've got an ordinance currently that lists so you've got an ordinance currently that lists what the duties of a city manager are, city administrator are. If there's any restrictions that y'all would like to place on that ordinance, then y'all would need to have that expressed correctly.
I know it's late, but I think we need a copy of that ordinance right now.
I can print it out for you.
So we can
Well,
review it and go over
I
it.
can't print it out. Can you print it out? She has the capability of printing that
You
out.
comfortable with that?
Alright.
And it's in chapter 2 of your code of ordinances. Yeah, I believe it's in chapter 2 of ordinances. I'm sorry?
I think it's 4.1.
Okay, then it could be in chapter 4.
I mean, we both may be wrong.
I think
I'm
it's
going on
it's two,
memory.
section 2.
See?
You
Chapter
said
2
it
is
sooner than I have.
I'm kind of pulled up on the
That was
website.
pretty cool. That was pretty close. Any other questions for me?
No.
Copies of the ordinance. In the past, we had an interview. That was a request that was made in the city manager interview process. And that was handled by that manager. He didn't like it because he didn't get to participate in the process. Nobody, there was 3 here that participated. Well, 4.
Must be having problems with that plotter deal. Or hey.
No, it's not. The fact that we have city equipment that doesn't work for a certain period of time because we do budget pass. It's no funny, no, Judd.
No, it's not. Okay.
Ms. Diane, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Or as we read through this, recently I made a motion where we had, voted and asked you to get, information as it relates to the interim city manager position. Is that task being completed?
Which task, ma'am, I'm
On
sorry?
the motion where I made to get information as it relates to an interim city manager?
I'm not sure I remember the motion, I did have,
Are you able to repeat my motion, please?
I did do some inquiries on temporary managers, is that what you're asking, I'm sorry?
That is
Yeah.
correct.
Okay, yes, and I did do that, yes, I'm sorry.
Has council reviewed any of those findings?
Regarding the city manager?
Your task.
Your task. Have we reviewed any of the information you were,
Not that I'm aware.
we've reached a decision without, reviewing all options, and we had a problem with that earlier.
I believe Art stated that he did not come up with someone.
He did contact two firms, and they
Yes,
had
he did.
people that could come in.
So I made a motion to direct the city attorney to solicit proposals for a contracted interim city manager. And
I
that
did.
task has been complete, and we haven't been provided any of that data. I know I haven't received.
No, ma'am, I provided that information to you in executive session.
As far as the rates and what the options were,
Yes, ma'am, that was discussed last week.
and who the candidates were.
No, in fact, I told you that there were no candidates until we decided if that was the direction that the council wanted to go.
So, I do have a question for the council. What changed since we gave Art that directive to go out to look for those two firms?
He did not come up with one, and here we are.
He had two.
Me too.
He had two possibles, nobody that he specifically put forth.
Right, there was no direction from the council as to that was the route that they wanted to go. So I did not pursue it any further.
And we waited because we wanted to see what Daniel was saying.
So why give him that directive if we were just
If we
going
were
to?
gonna disregard it,
Well,
yeah.
the thing is, we're looking to put somebody there right now. I mean, it's temporary, but actually, he's not the new city manager, so, I mean, and if he's unable to do the job, that's still an option, correct? I mean, as opposed to what we have right now. I mean, nothing's in stone.
But wouldn't it be smart to,
To waste more time, we've already wasted
Yes.
enough time.
How are we compensated for this decision? How are we compensating for the position?
we're not worried about details apparently. Details don't matter.
And we had, briefly, the administrative qualifications for the real short brief. The qualifications were noted as very short and brief from the audience.
Just by the way, this ordinance was written by Wayne Cavalier, and it was in 2007.
So it's no longer
I did not say that.
effective?
I did not say that.
Oh, okay.
Just so everybody knows.
But this is what we're granting by voting on it tonight, Jeff. And we didn't even review this.
I thought what we were doing here was you were trying to restrict the city manager's abilities to do that. Interim city manager.
But we have to know what the definition of those powers are. I asked to see the definition of all the powers. And so far, we don't know what compensation looks like.
There's a lot of details that haven't been figured out, right?
We don't have to do it
So
right.
that's correct. So we appoint somebody, but then they're not really the city manager then, right? There's a lot of details that need to be figured out
The motion would be to appoint Mr. Riddle.
without anything.
Not any
In
compensation.
place.
discussed,
Work that
any of
out.
Compensation has not been agreed upon, if that's what you're asking.
Correct.
Correct.
So what is our city ordinance? Does this state we have to have a contract with a city manager? So how do we follow this ordinance?
So,
We appoint somebody, don't get a contract, but then they're just in there and can run the city?
the only, it would be prudent to have some of those details worked out. But I will tell you what I would also say is that remember, we're not talking about a contract for city manager. We're just
Right.
looking for interim services at this point, which could be done by contract, it could be done by appointment, it could be, there's different ways.
Right, a lot of details,
There's different ways.
right,
to
a
skin that.
lot of details that we should have figured out or could have been
Figured out prior to
beforehand,
recommendations.
or at least advised to not go this route without those details figured out. Right?
So,
Like these ordinances printed out, ready to go, like,
right, so
like
these
you
would be,
knew,
Where were
like you knew it was
those
gonna happen
instructions given?
tonight.
Where were those instructions provided for those ordinances to be, or resolutions to be approved directly?
that was based on my understanding from the executive session from last time.
Mr. Hertel, in your experience, you recently challenged me on a budget item that I relayed to the public as it relates to our no new revenue rate. Was I correct or incorrect?
Actually, the mistake.
Point of order here, I mean.
Point of order is I'm vetting the
This
qualifications.
isn't a jury trial.
I'm vetting the qualifications. May I?
I would like.
May I respond?
You can respond.
Was I correct or incorrect in the response I gave to the citizens? That's yes or no.
I'm not gonna play yes or no games. If you would like me to explain my mistake with that post I made, I
Was
will.
the information I communicated correct or incorrect?
Let me respond.
Your information was correct. I was mistaken. My mistake originated from not being aware that the property tax buyback that was removed from the sales tax by a Prop A last year changed the no new revenue rate. Because when I went through the document and looked at the no new revenue rate, it shows 33 cents. And I was unaware of the almost 14-cent clawback. So yes, your post was correct. I was mistaken.
These are your qualifications
Okay.
as it relates to the sales tax rate
It's not qualified.
that's passed on to all these citizens. Think about the decision you're making, but I'm not comfortable with this decision at all. And I, furthermore, if you have the confidence that you're gonna push it through, because I fear it's prearranged. It's so convenient that all three of you are on board with this. It is so convenient that Mr. Hurdle shows up tonight. No disrespect, sir, but I haven't seen you in several months.
Walking quorum.
That's amazing, because I wasn't on board with this one until, Daniel was no longer on board, so that's amazing.
This paints a pretty picture of retaliation, in my opinion.
I mean, I can say a lot of retaliation that's happened on,
Walking
upon
quorum.
me, so I mean,
Walking quorum. Walking quorum.
Looking at this, did you have some restrictions or?
I'm looking into this.
No, I'm asking, look at, did you have any
Yes,
specific?
yeah, I'm looking at this, I'm like, I don't mind having, if you guys don't want him firing or hiring anyway, that's fine. This isn't a temporary position, it's not, we're hiring him as a new city manager, so.
We don't even know what we're paying, man. Where's that coming out of the budget?
That's what we'll probably be paying, the company that Art brought up. I mean, we could go back default, or you may do it for less. He said he wants to serve. I don't mind giving him an opportunity. If it doesn't happen, it's not in stone.
Is he even qualified? Is this gonna pull your load off?
Mr. Hurdle, who's your current employer right now?
I work for the Living Word Church and the Gerald Chamber of Commerce.
Okay. And do you know if they're okay with you?
No, I know, I'm gonna have to go ask them.
They're okay.
I imagine I'm gonna have to resign from the Gerald Chamber of Commerce.
Okay, limitations.
One for sure.
Do you have any that you would like to?
I think we hire and fire, we make it just keep the boat going. And if there's anything, that needs to be done, it's gonna have to come before council. They also said in previous.
The same thing for chief, so.
I've got no problem with that.
Changing positions of city staff.
Hiring, firing, I think we're talking about.
Is that it?
this goes for a roll call, for a vote, can we get a roll call vote? That
Citizens
we can
deserve
hear.
that. Citizens deserve that.
And remember what it might cost the citizens of Gerald. This whole deal you've been playing. It ain't over yet. This tax deal, y'all know it.
Can you explain number 12 of this city ordinance?
You done it under section 3?
Yes.
Well, it's very common to have a position bonded in case there's ever some financial improprieties. It's very common to have the position bonded. $25,000, I will say it's a little on the low side, but,
I'd like to restrict, number 11, since it was restricted from our city manager. Apparently appointments are invalid. Might as well remove that.
I don't see why it needs to be removed. We're talking about an
You don't know
interim.
why it needs to be removed?
We're talking about an interim,
Correct.
not a city
But
manager.
you're granting an interim the authority to appoint a city manager. I'm not comfortable with that.
Okay, wait on. I think that, it's fine to leave there and take it out.
Yeah, take it up.
May I ask a question about number 11? Just,
Sure.
You're not the mayor.
Thank you for letting me know that.
You're
Your
not the mayor.
question? Mr. Earl?
could you guys restrict that so I may appoint a city employee? Because I want to give you a hypothetical. If I have a surgery scheduled and I'm going to be out for a day, I need the ability to be able to appoint an acting city manager.
Not very good.
And it can be you can dictate that it only be Chief South if you want, but there's gotta be a,
So, Mr. Mayor, if I could make a suggestion. This ordinance, or the resolution that Councilman Slidell read would be for the immediate appointment of a person who hasn't, I've heard yet, accept the position, which might be problematic and might be better if you keep the ordinance as written with the authority then for the mayor to go and negotiate with that person to see if they would even seek that, if they would even accept the appointment and make that appointment at a future date. Just a suggestion, not. Obviously, y'all can do what you want.
Again, I don't have a problem as long as we do it properly. I mean, you have to have a city manager.
So as far as pay, Patrick would negotiate with the
Yeah.
city. Go
It
through
would come in front of the council,
Correct.
Mr. Earl, and then it would come in front of the council to be approved.
To a vote, is that how that works?
So at this time, the
That would be,
ordinance
that's
as
a
a whole.
suggestion.
So this is just a
That's-
recommendation.
It's just a suggestion. It's not, we need to put something in place. What he negotiates with we have, something like that.
And that way the provisions that Tanya has are in writing and everybody feels comfortable with it for the interim.
So does the motion have to be modified?
They would either councilman said no, would have to amend his motion with the agreement of, Councilman Islis, or one can make a motion to amend the main motion.
Well, I will amend that motion, and I'm not exactly clear what we have taken out of the balance. That's,
1 and 11?
just 1 and 11, and then the mayor. Okay, so with the withdrawal of 1 and 11 in the city ordinance of the city manager, and that the mayor will negotiate with the interim city manager for acceptance or.
Second.
Okay, just so we have a motion to adopt this resolution as is and directing me to negotiate a contract with.
Well, no, I don't think it needs to be a contract, does it, Art? I mean, it can be, but it doesn't need to.
Just an agreement, so, I mean, it'd probably be a contract.
Ordinance states contract,
Yeah.
I believe.
Well, it's the full,
Section 2, contract.
but it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, it'll be an agreement of some sort, yes, so it's a contract.
Parliamentary procedure, you already have a motion on the floor. Now you're making a second motion that doesn't relate to the first one.
You're amending
You
your
can't
motion.
do
I
that.
amended my motion.
You can withdraw that first motion, then you can discuss your.
Well, I'm glad you're running it. I think that what we've done is we've
We've-
decided.
That's right.
We've amended the original
Mhm. So,
motion.
all right. So motion on the floor, we got a second.
Robert's Rules of Order.
We have a motion on the floor and a second
What is?
to adopt the ordinance as is, with the provision of directing me to negotiate with Mr. Hurdle, removing sections, what are they? Section 3, item 1 and 11. And bring it back to the council.
Correct.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor?
That's just for the ordinance or for the whole?
Just for this particular.
Just for the ordinance.
The resolution.
And the resolution.
This
This
was.
is only.
That's what I'm saying, he's the ordinance. I'm just making
Yeah,
sure.
Resolution.
He
There's
does the
one.
ordinance.
Okay, okay. I'm good.
It's against the rule.
We have a motion on the floor and a second. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Passes 3-2. All right. Gerald City Council now adjourned at 9:37